I know very little of you, and I want to know much more because you are so smart.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm hearing everyone say, "Oh, you should talk to Iti.
Yeah?
Iti." Yes.
Can I say?
Tell me. Tell me what you've been doing.
Oh gosh, mostly just trying to stay out of trouble. For the most part, you know.
So, tell me about everything about you. You said you live in Austin,
Yeah.
Texas? Yes.
I'm in Austin. I've been there for about 6 years, but I've lived all over in the U.S. Lived in Georgia, California, Minnesota, and then now Texas.
As a kid, did you grow up in the U.S.?
Well, I did a lot of growing up here, but I was born in India. That's
Okay.
where I spent a lot of my formative years, and then since then I moved to the U.S. for studies, and I stayed. So yeah, it's been a long
So
time.
all these moves, were they because family, work, studies?
Yeah, work, study, wherever opportunities took me or curiosity took me, I decided to follow that path.
Wonderful. So, tell me about you. Tell me about
Okay.
everything.
Yeah, so I have been in the localization business for a long time, but I took a localization and also technology, for a long time. But I took the scenic route, so I took a longer route to get here. Didn't start out, as a translator or an interpreter, which is the normal default way.
You did not.
I did not.
Okay.
So my background is actually in film and television. So I
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I studied film and television. I pursued that career for almost a decade in LA,
As a producer,
mostly behind the scenes as a
Yeah.
producer, and also I was leading acquisitions for a film distribution studio. So I was acquiring a lot of content, global content, to include in their catalog of,
dream job.
yeah, it was quite nice. It was fun. India makes the maximum number of movies every year, in the number of movies released and tickets sold. So it was always a curiosity of mine, and I wanted to pursue that. So I did. So I like to think of myself as a storyteller at heart. And earlier I would tell the stories of people and cultures and just lives in general. And now I tell the stories of language, of technology.
I
And
love this. I love
so I
this.
still continue to be, I believe, a storyteller. It's just that the nature of my stories have changed, but
It's so
not
funny
much.
that I thought about today when I was watching the keynote, and I was thinking about how a good presentation is when you have a narrative and you have a story to tell, and you have a beginning and then you entertain the person until the end.
Yeah.
And this is what you've been doing with your career as well. This is wonderful.
Yeah, and then for the past, I would say 10 plus years, I've been in product management, and I sort of very intentionally crafted my career to be in product. More so because when I, took a pivot from film, I was working for an LSP. And mostly I was on the client side. So it was a very interesting story, at least interesting to me, because on the film business, I was anytime we were licensing or syndicating any content, I was looking at translating it, localizing it, subtitles, dubbing, that kind of stuff. And having grown up in a different country with very poorly dubbed content, that was something that was very personal to me. So I got involved in that aspect of the movie business too. And so it was very important for me to tell the stories in the tone and the voice that they were originally meant to be. And since then, when I pivoted to technology, and I was very curious about where in the workflow, where in the supply chain, where exactly would I sit that would drive the most impact for the customer, that would create the most value for the customer. And so I started with, learning the business, or sort of going into the trenches, working for an LSP, because that was very gratifying and, sort of an interesting experience for me. And then, it was marketing and so on and so forth. But eventually I realized that it was in R&D, as close to the product as I can be, because that's where I have the opportunity to drive that impact. And yeah, and that's...
And I love how resolute you are, and you have this firmness that is amazing, and it's so compelling.
Oh, thank you, Rod.
Yes, and I think you bring this to your life, into your career. Again, I know you very little. We just met yesterday, but I was there, and I say, I see why everyone is talking about you. I get it. And I remember you Giselle did an amazing presentation. You were lucky with the group. I don't know if lucky, but you had very smart people around that table. I will ask you how you felt about how was your experience. But I remember Giselle was right before, I think, and you gave her such a punctual feedback, and you were, and I was a little far, but I saw you saying, and I got a few pieces because I'm getting that. And then I thought, this is so precise and so punctual. So, do you remember what it was?
Yeah, so it was a very interesting conversation because, we initially thought in our group that, hey, should we think of a problem and then come up with a solution? And I just went around the table. I'm like, I'm sure somebody has something that they want to truly get a real life solution for, right? Or at least have us frame their thinking in the best way we can, because we come from diverse perspectives and, diverse places in our professional and personal journeys. And so when Giselle presented her question, or what her primary challenge was in terms of getting that buy-in from leadership, I firmly believe that feedback is a gift, but at the same time, feedback needs to be very measured and actionable. Without that, you aren't really able to differentiate between the noise or the signal, right? So it needs to be very measured and very direct, but at the same time, with a lot of radical candor and care, because you genuinely want the best for the other person, right? So that's how I was having a conversation with her, which I usually do when I'm talking to my customers, which is a big part of my everyday, is I talk to my customers like maybe at least 3 days out of the week, and at least 2 calls or 3 calls a day. So depending on how many customers are willing to talk to me, I'll talk to them. But that keeps me very close to the market and close to their problems. And that's how I was approaching that conversation as well, where I wanted to gather and understand what her challenges were so that we could drive that clarity. And hopefully that was helpful.
I didn't want to interrupt you because I did it last yesterday. I cannot do the same mistake again. But I wanted to explain what it was. So, do you want to talk about it? Do you want to?
Oh, no, go ahead, please. It was your show.
It was, and it was a good one, was it?
Yeah,
Did you like
good.
it?
It was fun.
So we had a group of people, and we were challenging that statement that translation is not a boardroom issue, translation localization. And Renata was on the sofa. We talked about it, and I had a similar discussion with him.
Okay.
But then we split the group into 3, and each one had to do a pitch to the board. And your pitch for me was, for your group was by far. I cannot say that.
Yeah, I'm a big favorite.
Yes. But I think everyone thought so.
Yeah.
How was your experience? How did you had a good group.
It was a good group, and I think the guidance that we were following was Anna's guidance in her video, is to tie to the business outcomes and make it relevant for your stakeholders, which I think is something that at times is missed in the localization conversation, because we're so passionate about what we do. We love what we do. We're so invested in it that we want we want others to see it, and we want to be seen, and we want to be heard, which is nothing wrong with it. But to the other person, just have to understand it's not their main center piece. So they don't really attribute that much value to it as much as we would. So for instance, to give you another example, if you want to make SEO a boardroom issue or something, right? It wouldn't be, because some executive or a leader would be like, why is SEO?
Why are we discussing this?
Right? But if you tell them the question about discoverability, and if you don't discover the product, how are you going to drive traffic? If you don't drive traffic, you really wouldn't get the acquisition and then retention, and that's what ties to your eventual life cycle spend of a customer. That's when you can connect the dots, right? So it's like, how can you make your problem their problem or anybody else's problem, right, in order to get the buy-in? So going back to the storytelling, it's a big part of product management as well, is that it's that connective tissue between customer problems and engineering process and tied to a business outcome. So if you can't connect the customer problem to a solution from engineering and the business outcome, it's really not, it's limited in its perspective, right? So you need to really know and understand and have that deep empathy for everyone included in that conversation. And that is what I think the main, guidance was to my group as well as we were discussing it.
And since I was talking to Priscilla, she was in your group, and she said it's interesting because I don't have the same experience. I'm presenting with my chief learning officer, so I have a C-level coming to a conference because they understand the value of what we do. And I happened to, and the person came in and we talked, and he said, yeah, I go into board conversations all the time and I bring the discussion to them. So it is a boardroom issue, a boardroom conversation. And we talked about the pitch. It was only 1 minute. I said, yeah, they don't have time. And it's data and action. If you don't go with these two elements into the conversation, you're not going to pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah, which is true. And I think from product, so in localization, a lot of the times you'll see in organizations, there is that product manager role that localization is associated with, but most of those folks aren't really doing true product management craft. They're really not. But it is because of the way the organization is set up or just access to resources that certain businesses make that decision. So in true product management, if you are, aligned with the product org and report into the CPO, usually whatever product area or domain that you own, you are considered the CEO of it. So you are the pure, true owner. You understand that business. To a certain extent, you're responsible for P&L as well. So you need to not be the one sort of asking for permission so much so in terms of, hey, can I do this? Or, hey, I need the resources. You just have to get scrappy. You have to get, you have to get very, very curious and just adept at making the decisions and also informing your leadership. At that point, leadership is not telling you what to do. They are not asking, you are not asking them for any permission. You're telling them, informing them that this is what we need to do because of this reason and this business outcome.
Yeah. What's next?
Ooh. Well, lots of fun things in store.
Okay. Give us, spill the beans.
Keeping some things for the mystery.
Okay.
But as far as, it's got to keep some mystery going and so that there's the element of surprise. It's nothing crazy.
Okay, that's good.
But yeah, in terms of what's next, I don't know. Just kind of keeping on, keeping on, whatever they say. So, yeah.
And what do you expect from the event? Are you looking forward to any session in particular?
So LocWorld over the past few years.
Is this your first?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, no. LocWorld, I usually come just to hang out with friends and meet my industry mentors, friends, colleagues, and just get to spend some face time with them because otherwise we're such a distributed virtual community. And in my work as a product leader associated with international and internationalization, there is still a lot of value and learning that I drive from localization because it's always like the adjacent role, the adjacent expertise. So it's never, it's never too far removed. It's always, a soft touch close. And localization is always my internal consumer first. So whatever services or workflows I'm building is for the local operations. But, I moved on to doing more challenging and solving, bigger, more hairy problems. So
more exciting stuff.
It's exciting stuff that I like. I get to learn a lot. I get to be humbled a lot. And, I tend to have just that curiosity and lead with kindness and, make sure that you're keeping your customer in the center of all of it because eventually you're doing it for them. If you don't have customers, your product is not good enough, right? And there'll always be another shiny toy that will be drawing their attention. So there's always that very front of mind for me. And in terms of just technology in general, over the last couple of years, we've had several conversations and that AI has been front and center. I'm just hoping that this time in the conference that we'd have more structured, tangible, tactical sort of outcomes that we can discuss and take away. And that's what I'm hoping to deliver as part of my session as well.
Mark and Talk tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yes, Marina is doing his.
Oh,
his show.
amazing.
And you had a session the first time tomorrow that I
That's okay. It only went to the best, so it's all good.
Not true, but I hope you can make it there
Of
and we
course,
can exchange.
tomorrow morning I plan on getting up really early, bright and early, and showing up so I can, have my coffee in hand and show up for your session and, make the most of it.
Wonderful. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Iti. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
And congratulations.
Well, thank you.
You said
you.
you said a few times lead with kindness, and I
Yeah.
think we need leaders like you.
Thank you.
Very happy to meet you and to learn more about you.
Yeah, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.